In the industrial heart of Birmingham, England, during the late 1960s, a sound emerged that would forever change the landscape of music. This is the story of Black Sabbath, the band that gave birth to heavy metal. Black Sabbath's journey began with a group of working-class teenagers: John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Terrence Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. Originally called Earth, the band played blues rock but felt something was missing. They craved a sound that reflected the harsh realities of their environment and their love for horror film. The turning point came when guitarist Tony Iommi had an accident at a sheet metal factory, severing the tips of 2 fingers on his right hand. Determined to continue playing, Iommi fashioned homemade thimbles and tuned his guitar down to ease the tension on his fingers, creating a darker, heavier sound that would become Black Sabbath's signature.
When we want it there, that finger and that finger, where I used to do sheet metal work. What happened one day, the day I was leaving, funny enough, from the job to turn professional, the old turn professional one, and I was doing pressing this piece of metal that I used to have to weld afterwards, and the press just came straight down on me, and of course, as you pull it back, I pulled the ends of the fingers off, and at the time I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I'd done. So I thought that was it. I was never play again. And what happened was a friend of mine brought me a record. It was the first time I was introduced to Django Reinhardt, who had also got, damaged 2 fingers and played with 2 fingers. And it got me back into playing, and I suppose it was 6 or 7 months later. And I started trying to play with these 2 fingers, like that. So these were bandaged up, and I was playing with these 2, which got me to use the little finger as opposed to that finger. And then, of course, I went to try and find to the hospital, try and find some kind of tip made so that I could put on, because, of course, if I play here, the string would just rip the skin off because the bone's right underneath. And they said, oh, there's nothing can be done, you'll have to pack up playing and whatever. So I went back home and I got a squeezy bottle and melted it down, made it into a ball, got a hot soldering iron and made a sort of hole in it, and got it down to fit my finger. So I've got this big ball on the end of my finger. Then I sat there all night, filing it down with some sandpaper to make a shape of a thimble. Then I put some leather on it because it wouldn't grip otherwise. It was plastic, it'd just slip off the string. I put some leather on, which made something like this, which is a plastic and then leather on it. And I used that and off I went. I mean, it's really weird to play with, of course, at first, but you get used to it. And there's certain things I probably wouldn't be able to do that most people could do. But there's other things I've come up with a different sort of style of playing, and probably more unorthodox way, but I've got away with it.
Inspired by the Boris Karloff film Black Sabbath, the band changed their name and began writing music that matched their new identity. They tapped into themes of doom, darkness, and the supernatural, setting themselves apart from the peace and love ethos of the 60s. On Friday the 13th of February, 1970, Black Sabbath released their self-titled debut album. The opening track, Black Sabbath, with its tritone riff and ominous lyrics, immediately announced the arrival of something unprecedented. Critics were skeptical, but fans were captivated by the raw power and eerie atmosphere. Just 7 months later, they released Paranoid, an album that would cement their status as pioneers of heavy metal. The title track, written in a matter of minutes, became one of their most enduring hits. Songs like Iron Man and War Pigs showcased their ability to blend heavy riffs with socially conscious lyrics. Despite their success, the band faced numerous challenges. Drug and alcohol abuse took its toll, leading to Ozzy's departure in 1979. Black Sabbath continued with various lineups, including a notable period with Ronnie James Dio as lead vocalist, producing classic albums like Heaven and Hell. The Dio era was short-lived but impactful. The follow-up album, Mob Rules, continued the band's resurgence. However, tensions between Ronnie James Dio and the rest of the band led to his departure in 1982. Despite the revolving door of musicians, Tony Iommi remained the constant driving force behind Black Sabbath. In the early 2000s, the original lineup reunited for several tours, delighting fans old and new. Their final studio album, 13, released in 2013, debuted at #1 in several countries, proving their enduring legacy. The album, produced by Rick Rubin, aimed to recapture the band's early sound and received widespread acclaim, despite Bill Ward being replaced on drums by Tommy Clufitos. In 2017, Black Sabbath bid farewell to the stage with the End Tour, closing the chapter on nearly 5 decades of groundbreaking music. They left behind a legacy that not only defined a genre, but also inspired countless musicians and bands across the globe. The tour was a celebration of their career, featuring classic hits and deep cuts, and was a fitting farewell to their loyal fans.